Shakir Mukhamadullin leaves with an injury. Who's left to play the blue line? It might be you.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker of the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Net, where we cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're going to be breaking down the Sharks Ducks 4-3 shootout loss. Talking about Shakir Mukhamudullin's injury. Who's left? Is there anyone left? If you have a pair of skates, please head down to TechCU Arena on Wednesday. You might be getting an offer here, so PTO might be coming your way. We're going to be talking about Will Smith's subtle defense, which is really starting to shine, and dig into the numbers behind the Sharks' 4-3 shootout loss. So let us start, of course, with the big news in this game. That is Shakir Mukhamadullin, the Sharks' rookie defenseman, leaving this game with an apparent shoulder injury. Of course, the Sharks are going to say upper body injury. He left the game, did not return, was quickly ruled out for the rest of the game. Let's start with the play, which first of all, absolute bush league on Frank Vetrano there. And Shakir Mukhamadullin, 100% cross-check, commits a penalty. Totally get, okay, you're trying to stand up for your guy. But to drive a dude into the boards and then like squat on his shoulder like that, 100% bush league. I would love to say I would expect player safety to do something about it, but you and I both know, spin the wheel and see if they feel like getting up and doing something. So, but 100%, like that is a bush league move right there. That is not like if it was the other way around, I'd be saying the same thing, right? If Ty Dellandrea or, pick your forward du jour, if they did the same thing to one of the Ducks players, I'd be calling them out for the same thing. Like, you can't do that. Like, we don't want to see players get injured. And you felt bad because Mukhamadullin was having his best game in a while, right? And he's, Mukhamadullin's played some good games recently. It's been a little bit more of a struggle, but tonight he had one of his best games in a while, and you felt like he was feeling it. He had a goal. He had some other great offensive plays. He's making good decisions in the defensive zone, and it felt like, okay, this could be a nice stepping stone for Mukhamadullin, who, again, he's only played like 30 games in the NHL. Like, he's going to continue to have these up and downs, but yeah, if again, we won't know. We probably won't know what it is, but assuming it's a dislocated shoulder, because again, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, the way the trainer was holding him and the way he was holding his elbow, like his shoulder, it looked like a dislocated shoulder. So if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's probably a dislocated shoulder. We're not going to see him the rest of the season. Like, there's no reason for him to come back. Like, those take 6 to 8 weeks to heal up, and we'll see if he needs surgery, right? Remember, William Eklund had the same thing happen to him in his season in the AHL. Right around the same time he had surgery, he was perfectly fine for training camp the next season. So I don't expect this to be a long-term lingering thing for Mukhamadullin, but it's really frustrating because you would have liked for him to kind of really build some momentum coming out, like, kind of to end the season here. And, kind of hit a bit of a low patch, but tonight felt like he was having one of his best games. The play along the board, like, he had a really nice play along the boards where, like, it looked like he was just going to get kind of pinned in the boards and kept fighting. And then he cuts the puck back in and gets a really nice shot on goal from really close, and like turning something out of nothing. Now, those are like the special tools that Mukhamadullin has, and you would want to see those start to flash a little bit more and more. But one is just frustrating. So this now begs the question: who's left to play, right? Because looking at the Sharks roster here and who's left, The blue line is becoming a mash unit at this point, right? Mukhamadullin, again, we don't expect Mukhamadullin back at this point, right? Jan Ruda on IR. I know he's starting to get ready, and maybe he's, but again, like I'm not expecting Ruda to kind of get back into the fray here. And right, we have 8 games left now after tonight. Yes, you need some bodies, but like just the timeline. Jimmy Schultz, who left the Rangers game with a lower body injury, and it sounds weakish to 2 weekish. Henry Thrun, who hasn't played since, it's been about a month for Henry Thrun. And then you have Darnay. Like Darnay's is your hope, at least for like guys, because his was thought to be an upper body injury, right? He didn't play the weekend, didn't even go on the road trip here. So that's your hope, is that Darnay's can be healthy enough to get back out on the ice. And we'll know more on Wednesday. I believe practice is around noon, if I recall correctly, but we'll probably know more Wednesday if Darnay's is available for the Sharks on Thursday. Good thing is the Sharks and the Cuda are both home right now. So the Barracuda do play on Wednesday at home. And then the Sharks play on Thursday. So there is some, like, if they need to call somebody up, they can. The problem is you're running out of NHL contracts on the Barracuda. Right now, there are 2 Barracuda players that are defensemen who have an NHL contract. Luca Cagnoni, who was just sent back, and I assume if Desharnais is not available, Cagnoni is getting back. And then AHL rookie Jake Furlong, who's had a solid year. Like, he's definitely more of the like defensive defenseman. He reminds me a lot of Justin Braun. Yes, the number doesn't hurt either when you're both wearing 61, but just that like cool, calm, collected defenseman. He's not as great of a skater as Justin Braun. Like, Justin Braun skating is something, like, go watch prime Justin Braun skate. But just that like kind of molding towards that shutdown defensive defenseman. And I think Furlong's really changed his game, especially that last year in Halifax and this year. Like, you've really seen that focus on the defensive side of his game, especially compared to early in his career in the Q. But those are your 2 guys right now. There is one more defenseman who is actually under an NHL contract, and that would be Sam Dickinson, who's playing in London right now. Those are your options right now for NHL contracts. Sam Dickinson, who I'd love to see play, but no, he's got important things to do right now in London. Dickinson with like 4-point night tonight, just absolutely ridiculous. Sam Dickinson's so good, guys. But yeah, the Sharks really are running out of bodies here of like who. And I mean, it's not like they can't. They could always, potential guys like you could sign someone to an NHL contract here. Like, if you wanted to get a guy like, if you wanted to get a guy like Justin Keane, or not Justin, but like Joey Keane, who's played NHL games, has played in the KHL. If you want to sign him to an NHL contract just to get another body, he's a guy you could potentially do with that. Or maybe a guy like Ethan Frisch, who's played really well for the Barracuda. You could sign one of those guys to a contract here. Like, that's not a problem for the Sharks to do something like that. But again, it just speaks to like, I mean, they have 47 out of 50 cons. So like, you can sign one of those guys to an NHL contract and figure it out. But then it also takes them out of playing. I don't know if the rules are, if they would take them out of playing I might have to dig into that. If they would take them out of playing for the Barracuda the rest of the year, we'll see. Yeah, might be a bit of a gray area. Or you could maybe try to find a street free agent and just sign them to a PTO for the rest of it. Like, you could do something like that, but or sign them to an NHL contract. Like, again, you're running out of bodies here. It's crazy how many injuries the defense has dealt with right now, right? And you feel bad for the Barracuda guys who are trying to just kind of do what they can to get through this right now. But they a little bit of support here, a little bit of Axel Landin, the fifth round pick, from the 2023 draft. He has made his way over to North America. He will be on an ATO for the rest of the season to play with the Barracuda. Hard hitting defensive defenseman. So he's here right now. And Yaroslav Askarov is expected to start on Wednesday, so that could be really nice as well. So yeah, it's getting a little tough here for Sharks for the blue line. So like I said, if you got a pair of skates, you may want to just head to Texas Arena on Wednesday about noonish. They might have a spot for you. So we will we'll talk about this game some more. Talk about how the Sharks overcame a sleepy start. Will Smith playing some subtle defense. Look at the lines as we had the sleepover line put together. Colin Graf with another big night. So plenty of stuff to talk about as the Sharks lose in a shootout 4-3. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. I personally love the in-shell variety. I like hearing the little crack. Just the plain salt is perfectly good for me. But if you don't want to deal with the shells, they have the no-shell variety, which makes it easy. They come in a bunch of different flavors. You can just throw a bag in your desk at work, or whenever you get that like nice 2:30 snacky feeling, they got you covered there. So get snacking and get cracking with snacks that pack a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, before we continue, start talking about this game, do want to, of course, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. If you haven't yet, perfect time to subscribe. I know the season is winding down, but off season is where we shine here at Locked On Sharks, especially when you have $40 million of cap space and most likely a top 2 pick in the draft. Plenty of great stuff. So make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts, or of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. So 4-3, and I think other than the Mukhamadullin injury, the Sharks played much better tonight, and it felt very much like, oh no, this is happening again. Especially after the first period where the Ducks outplayed San Jose for especially the first 5 minutes. It felt very much like, oh no, it's happening again. But credit to the Sharks, they found their game and they really, I think, controlled the second half, of the game there. And the third was a much more even affair. But San Jose, like, that's what we wanted to see, right? Especially after the last 2 games where they just got blown out. It wasn't competitive at all. The Sharks it was a more competitive game tonight. That's what we wanted to see there from them. And that's good. Check. Would have been nice to lose in regulation. If you're gonna lose in regulation, so you don't get the loser point here, is it's now 1 point between the Sharks and the Sharks and the Blackhawks. So but the nice thing is, again, regulation wins. Sharks have a massive advantage there when it comes to the tiebreaker. But yeah, credit to the Sharks though, who found their game, were competitive in this game, and a lot of it was the top 2 lines. And one of the big things that stood out to me tonight was Will Smith and his just subtle defense, right? And we know Will Smith, like, he is a offensive player, right? That's why you drafted him 4th overall. You drafted him because of his ability to create offense and generate offense, and he does that in spades. And you saw a bunch of great offense tonight. Also, if Macklin Celebrini had scored that in between the legs goal, yeah. That would have been pretty sweet. But Will Smith, though, you're seeing him start to make some more subtle, I'll call it just subtle defensive plays, right? Back back checking, right? And just kind of that little poke check here and there. Like he's not going to be a shutdown defensive like forward. That's fine, right? Like I think Celebrini is going to be the two-way defensive, the two-way center between the two, right? But you're seeing him just making subtle plays, making smart little plays. You think about the overtime, right? Where on a back check, it's a 3-on-1. He gets back, and the thing with Smith is like he skates quickly, but it doesn't look like he's skating hard, which can be really confusing, right? I think it's his skating is almost it's like effortless. So it makes it look like he's not like trying, but he is actually trying. And I think that's what you kind of want. Cause like a lot of people will be like, well, he's not skating that hard. It's like, no, that's just how he looks when he skates, right? He's like William Eklund, you can tell like when he's skating hard, like it looks like he's skating hard. I think Will Smith, when he skates hard, it's just a little bit more subtle with him. But that back check, right, gets in there, gets his stick in there at the last second. And he's had a couple of those and a couple, even recently in some other games where it's just like he reads the play. And right, there was the game a couple weeks ago where maybe it was last week where right, he reads the play along the blue line and he goes right and he intercepts it and he goes for a breakaway. And I think that's where he hits the post, right? Where he does everything right except for he hits the post there. And you're seeing that. And again, like he's not going to be a shutdown defensive, but he's going to be almost like a splash play defensive plays where when he does like when he makes these defensive plays, you're going to notice them. They're going to usually kind of turn from defense into offense type of plays. But this is a big development for Will Smith, who's hit a lot of milestones and check marks this season, right? And you think back to October where we with him, where it felt very much like Bambi on ice, right? Where you're trying to like coddle and like, okay, like he's doing things there and we're seeing little positive signs. If you look at the numbers, he's doing some positive stuff, but maybe you're not seeing it like on the ice. And now we're talking about him as like, like kind of that mid-season, right? We all go back to that Boston game of, look what he did in that game, right? And that since that game, everything like the light turned on for him that game. That was his light bulb moment game, right? Where everything turned on and it all made sense and everything kind of slowed down and everything clicked for him. And now you're starting to kind of see the layers. And, yes, maybe the offense is just like we know with offense is going to have its up and down. But what's the thing with players, right? If you're not scoring goals, what else can you do for me? And we're starting to see from Will Smith, he's going to be doing more and more stuff for you, which is good to see. Because again, right? Oh, I don't know why because he played a bunch tonight. Unfortunately, the box score has like disappeared from NHL.com, but he was leading the team in time on ice through 2 periods. And like that's always been Eklund and Celebrini and like sometimes Wennberg. Like those guys are usually the guys leading you in ice time because they play in, most scenarios. Now you're starting to see Will Smith, right? Remember he's playing like 12 or 13 minutes a game or 14. Now it's starting to creep up a little bit more every, kind of as the season has gone on. And these are very, very nice developments for Will Smith as he continues his growth and development. Just think like a full off season offer. You're not kind of getting ready for like the NHL and like rookie camp and all that stuff, like a full off season off for Celebrini, who's again, you're not going to do the combine, you're not going to do the draft, you're not going to do the tour, all that stuff. A full off season off for these guys in the lab to 1, rest, and then 2, to kind of really start after a full season in the NHL to really get ready. The sky's like big jumps for these guys coming next year. So we're going to dig more into this game here. I want to talk about some Colin Graf. Look at that Colin Graf. Graf Eklund-Wennberg line, which was great tonight. We'll talk about the sleepover line, which played really well. We're going to give Georgiev some love tonight. Something we don't do on this podcast very often, but Alexandar Georgiev deserves some love tonight after his performance. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. Ever check your bank account, wonder where did all my money go between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, or if you're like me, just trying to buy snacks for your children? It's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you can stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for 50% off your first year. All right, before we finish up, we dig into the numbers of this game. Do want to, of course, thank you guys for making the Locked On Sharks your first listen. When you're done with this episode, go check out one of the other great shows here at the Locked On Network. Steph Curry, 50-piece tonight. That seems like probably a big story over at Locked On Warriors. You have Locked On Niners as they get you guys ready for the draft. Locked On A's, Locked On Giants. What are we doing? Giants? So plenty of stuff. We're here at Locked On or Locked On NHL. I'm on every Tuesday with Seth. Go check out one of those shows wherever you're listening to this podcast, or of course you can watch on YouTube as well. All right. Let's dig into the numbers of this game. So again, like the first period looked very much like oh no, this is happening again. But the Sharks played like really climbed out of the hole in this game. Shot attempts in 51 minutes of 5-on-5 time, 54 to 52 in favor of the Sharks. Corsi for basically 51% to 49% in favor of the Sharks. Actual shots on goal at 5-on-5, 26 to 26. The Ducks, they had more power play opportunities, and that's where they kind of got more shot attempts. Also, letting the Ducks score on the power play in the year 2024, 2025. Yeah, it's not a good sign. That power play is woeful, but you keep giving teams opportunities, they're going to do it. So scoring chances 31 to 30 in favor of the Sharks, 14 to 13 high danger chances in favor of the Sharks, 2.62 to 2.1 expected goals for in favor of the Ducks. So, but that second period, after a very sleepy start from the Sharks first period, but Sharks in the second period in full 20 minutes of 5-on-5, 31 to 12 shot attempts, 14 to 4 actual shots, 17 to 8 scoring chances in that period, 9 to 5 high danger chances. That is a response you want to see, right? Of we're going to try to control offense, and they did everything they could except for score everything right except for score a goal on that. And Dostal was brilliant tonight until he tried to act like Colin Graf murdered him, which was absolutely hilarious. That whole sequence on the Vlasic goal was absolutely hilarious, where Colin Graf skates by, and I think he clips Dostal a little bit, right? And then both the defenders just go freaking like bull scene red crazy and just pin Colin Graf and rip off his helmet. So the Sharks are getting a penalty, power play there. The puck makes its way to Mark-Edouard Vlasic, who scores there. And like the clip of Dostal just lying there for a minute, like somebody shot him. And then he just gets up and he's like, okay, I'm good now. And he's like, there's like a solid 5 to 10 seconds where he's like kind of like, tracking the puck and everything like that. And then all of a sudden, lets it in. And then he throws a fit about the goal. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. When the Ducks Sharks rivalry, when that starts to build, as these teams get better here, it's going to be absolutely great. It's going to be great when these two teams, because the Ducks are going to be so freaking annoying again. And that's what makes rivalries great. Right. But Dostal just just comical. That whole clip is just comical. Anyway, so but yeah, credit to the Sharks. Like I said, great job in the second period. Much kind of more even in the third period, where the Ducks got more shot attempts, but the Sharks were they were getting more quality. Like it was 16-10 shot attempts, 7-7 actual shots, or sorry, 3-8 actual shots, but the scoring chances were 7-7. The Sharks had 4-1 high danger chances, and that like they weren't getting as many opportunities, but they took advantage of the opportunities that they had. So yes, love to see that. Forward lines. So we had Smith celebrating Toffoli played 16-40 tonight at 5-on-5. 16-23 shot attempts. So they did get outshot there. 7-12 actual shots, 0.36 to 0.7 expected goals for, 7-16 scoring chance, yikes, and 2-6 high danger chances. So that's okay. Again, right. Some nights you're not going to be able to generate as much offense. The Ducks have a lot of young, good forwards as well. The Terry Strome Vetrano line is very good. They had 17-3 shot attempts. Like that line's very good. But the good thing is the Eklund-Wennberg-Graf line made up for it tonight. 11:43 time on ice, 18-9 shot attempts, 8-4 actual shots, had 2 goals, 0.75 to 0.27. Expected goals for, 14 scoring chances for that line to 4 allowed, and 7-1 high danger chances. Graf, like twice, almost scored. One where he's like coming in and like trying to clean up off a rebound. If he gets like half a second more time, he probably scores there. And then he has one like where he tries to get like a nice greasy goal in front of the net, and that's like a greasy goal. And it just doesn't pop in for him. But like Graf has his special, like if you go back to what I talked like when Graf kind of was going through and making his, jump back up into the NHL, I talked about like Colin Graf's special ability is to just always be around where the puck is and to be in the right place at the right time, and the puck always finds him. And you saw it tonight. So he's gonna get some here. So William Eklund. Can we talk about that Eklund pass on the Wennberg goal? Oh my goodness. Like just William Eklund just quietly doing his thing, continues to quietly do his thing, right? Beats out, like does the dirty board work, beats out some guys, makes some space for himself along the like Eklund's board play is ridiculous. The way he's able to just create space for himself and generate offense for other players just by the subtle movements. And he's gotten big enough and strong enough where he can fight guys off there, and just kind of all he needs is that little gap. And then the eyes behind his head to know where Wennberg is, and just puts a perfect pass to Wennberg, who buries it home. Wennberg continuing to play well. And Wennberg started that whole thing by his keeping the puck alive in the offense, like in the zone, and not letting it get out. But William Eklund, man, dude's a rock star. So continue. Yeah. He's really good. Lund, Delanger, Grunstrom played 8:31, 10-9 shot attempts, 5-7 actual shots. Had a goal, gave up 2 goals, 0.56 to 0.72 expected goals for, 6-6 scoring chances, and 3-4 high danger chances. I thought Lund made some solid defensive plays as well. The 5-on-3 that the Sharks had to kill, right? Big moment there. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But Lund having to go out, right? Lund's played 4 NHL games now. He's having to go out there and help kill that penalty in that big moment right there. I thought that, like, of course, he gets out of the box and he's the one like having to go out there and kill it because he has no choice. I thought that showed a lot from Cam Lund to be out. And then he creates a scoring chance as the power play expires there. Like, that was a big moment from Lund, and I thought he handled himself really well, and I thought he continues to play well. No Gregor, Osapchuk, Goodrow, 607, 6-7 shot attempts, 3-2 actual shots, 0.11 to 0.19 expected goals for. So Georgiev. Typically don't give a lot of love to Alexandar Georgiev tonight. He was outstanding, 35 saves on 38 shots. 3 goals allowed on 4.13 expected goals, 0.921 save percentage, 278 goals allowed, 8 of 10 high danger saves, 14 of 14 mid danger, and 13 of 14 low danger. He made some big saves, and especially that 5-on-3, right? And how many times have we seen the Sharks collapse in that moment there? And Georgiev kept them in it, made some big saves in overtime. Good for Georgiev. Let's see what happens when you give the man a day off occasionally. He can, maybe respond and play well here. I don't know how many more days off he's going to get here down the stretch. I think the Sharks have like 1 back-to-back left, if I recall correctly, but still. Good for you, Alexandar Georgiev. Great performance tonight. I think one of your best that we've seen you in teal while wearing teal. Because, right, plenty of volume, and this thing could have gone off the rails, especially the way the Ducks played in their first period. I thought he played really well, especially that second and third period. Like the rest of the game, right? He shut things down. He did everything he could in the shootout as well. So McTavish goal was nasty, but yeah, good for you. So that's going to be it for us tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. Make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until tomorrow, bye, friends.